Hi guys, in this video we're going to cover adding and subtracting fractions. So first of all, when you're adding fractions and you've got the same denominator, we're simply adding the numerators but we don't add the denominator. So here we've got 1 6 plus 3 6 is equal to 4 6. And if we were to look at this in sort of a picture form, well, if I had a circle here and I cut it up into sixths, something like that, well, I'm taking 1 6 and I'm adding 3 more, but I'm not actually adding new cuts. See, this is how many pieces we have, and this is the number of parts or cuts we're dividing up into, right? And so I'm not increasing how many times I've cut it, I'm only increasing how many parts I have. And so I end up with 4 6ths, and of course every time you want to simplify, and we simply simplify this to 2/3 in this instance. To subtract fractions with the same denominator, it's exactly the same. We subtract the numerators, we leave the denominator. So here 6/8 minus 4/8 is 2/8, and then of course we always simplify our answer if possible, and we can simplify this 2/8 to 1/4. But how about this example where we have 2/3 plus 1/4? It's kind of hard to do that. So here's an example. I've got two pizzas here, and the first is cut into thirds and the second is cut into quarters. It's kind of awkward to take that 2/3 of a pizza and that 1/4 of a pizza and put them together to work out a size. So what we actually need to do is we need to increase the number of cuts we have in our pizza so that we have the same size slices in both of these, but we're not going to change these original slices. We want to leave these black slices in place. And to do that, I'm actually going to find the lowest common multiple of our denominators, because that is the number of slices I can slice my pizza up into to be able to have the same size slices in both without changing my slices. So the lowest common multiple of 3 and 4 is 12. So if I cut this pizza up into 12 now, which means I'm increasing this pizza's slices to 4 per slice, and I'm going to increase this pizza's slices to 3 per slice, now my slices are the same size in both, and I can actually work it out. I can count how many slices I have here out of 12 now, and this one out of 12 as well. And notice, when I've done these slices, I've actually got 4 slices now for every one that I originally had. So in fact, I have multiplied my thirds by 4. And in the same case here, my quarters have now been cut into 3. I've actually multiplied how many slices I have for each quarter by 3. So a quick way of finding my multiples is to multiply my denominators together. That gives me a multiple of 12 on each side for both my pizzas. However, now that I have increased my slices by 4 times on this side, I now actually have 4 times as many of these original slices I have. I had 2 slices when they were thirds, but now for every 2 I have 4. I'm actually going to multiply this way as well. And so I'm going to end up with 8 slices on this pizza. And on this pizza here, I started off with 1 slice, but that slice has now been cut 3 times. And so I'm actually going to multiply this way as well, and I end up with 3 here. And now I have common denominators, and I can add these together. I can work out how much pizza I've eaten. So my slice sizes don't change anymore. I'm counting it out of 12 slices, but you can see I've eaten 11 of those 12. And I can't simplify this any further, so that would be my final answer for this addition. So let's look at the notes for that then. So when we add fractions with different denominators, we need to change the fractions to equivalent fractions that have the same denominator. We then add the fractions and simplify if necessary. So here's another example. I have 1/3 plus 1/5. I can't add those together. Simply what I need to do is find the lowest common multiple of 3 and 5. So A quick way of doing that, often but not always, is just multiplying them together. In this case, it will give me the lowest common multiple of 15. However, now that there is 5 times as many slices here as there used to be, I also need to make this 5 times as big. And so I end up with 5/15. And 5/15 is exactly the same as 1/3. And here, my 5 is now 3 times as big, so I need to make my numerator here 3 times as big. And 3/15 is the same as 1/5. Now that I have the same denominators, I can add them together. I end up with 8/15. And I can't simplify this further, so that's my final answer. And of course, this same rule applies to subtraction. Okay, here's something you can do for yourselves, but I'm actually going to do this first one with you first. So here we can see that we don't have a common denominator, so we need to make these a common denominator. Now, I've already shown you that we can just multiply these together down the bottom here, and we would end up with a fraction over 24 and a fraction over 24. But because we've done that, we need to now multiply 6 by 3 over here, and we get 18, and we cross multiply this way, and we have 4 times 1 is 4. Now we can add these together, and you'll see that we have 22 over 24, and that can be simplified to 11 over 12. But what's interesting here is we don't actually have the lowest common denominator. So let's actually use the lowest common denominator of 6 and 4, which is 12. So if we're going to use the lowest common denominator and it's 12, it's 2 times 6, so we're going to multiply our top by 2, so we have 2 twelfths. And here we're multiplying by 3 to get to 12, and so we're going to multiply the top by 3, and we end up with 9 twelfths. Now when we add those together, we end up with 11 twelfths. And you can see that it's the same answer in the end. However, it's a little bit shorter and a little bit quicker if we do use the lowest common multiple. Either way is correct, although it's easiest if you know what the lowest common multiple is. If you don't, simply cross multiply and you'll still get there. So I'll leave you to do the rest of these. Pause the video, have a go at them, and then I'll put the answers up.